I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening right now. In my very house. I don't know what's going on outside my door. Outside the door of my office. Someone's in the hallway. And they're bothering me. Oh, they left. Hold on. I gotta focus this. Did that work? Did that work? I have a secret tool that I have to use for focusing my camera. And it's this. It's a Sharpie. It's a Sharpie. Because my camera can't figure out where I am. I don't understand why it doesn't work that way. Hi, I'm Phil Gonzalez. I don't have anything else to add. Let's just get this started with. Let's get this started. Are you ready to get this started? Let's get this started. Yeah, here we go. Oh, wait.
This way to Bear Country. You'll know when you're there. As soon as you enter, you'll feel like a bear. A great grizzly bear. A Berenstain bear.
Welcome back to Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast. I am your host, Phil Gonzalez, and this week we are covering the third episode of the 1985 Berenstain Bears TV Saturday morning series, The Berenstain Bears. This one covers the Great Bat Cave, the Giant Bat Cave, sorry, and the other one, I can never remember what the other one is, Giant Bat Cave and the Wild Wild Honey. Both stories I've covered in the past, so hang on to your bottoms because we've got a lot to cover. So this is the Berenstain Bears Giant Bat Cave. I covered in an episode like 7 years ago with Alana and Mitzi. It was a chapter book, a Berenstain Bear Scouts chapter book. Mitzi was half the age she is now. So, Turan Tura, Kalu Kalay. Is this recording? This better be recording. Yes, it's recording. Before we even get started, I want to... Oh, gosh dang it. I want to point out something in the episode here. It's very important. I'm gonna pause. So this is the episode starts out with an overview of Beartown, like the middle, like town square in Beartown. We got the back scratching tree. We've got a parent and a child sitting at a bench. We got an old man bear with that very tall hat, sitting on a bench reading the newspaper. And then there's two cubs down on the ground playing with what appears to be a red toy car or truck. And the visible cub in the image is a nightmare of graphic design, is horrifically off model as far as like cartoons go, as far as like a cartoon character goes. I don't understand. Like, it looks, her eyes are tiny and way too high up on her head or something. I understand these are like paid people who like had to draw a lot of pictures to make a cartoon, and they couldn't focus entirely, like spend a whole lot of time on each like minor character, especially these characters who are on screen for all of one second, because this is a quick establishing shot. But yeah, but it is a nice establishing shot. It covers Beartown pretty well. I don't know about this red pickup truck that's going around the town square. It's hastily conceived, rapidly drawn. But that's I noticed this not even when I first watched, like when I was setting this up and I paused this episode right there, and I was like, this little girl is absolutely nuts. And you know what? It's unfair that I stopped it like this. I'm gonna start completely over, because this way to Bear Country. So yeah, so I covered the Giant Bat Cave, Berenstain Bear Scouts chapter book, Mitzi and Alana, and it was very much a book about local politics and the ins and outs of like setting up something for like the impact that a community has on the changes to like natural resources, natural attractions, natural beauty, and like weighing like the pros and cons of like turning something that's naturally beautiful into a tourist attraction in order to raise money for a town. Yeah. They really brush over that pretty fast in the original. This is the original episode. This is like the original story. This is how it first appeared. So here we are, Berenstain Bears. in the giant bat cave. They're only in the giant bat cave at the very nearer the end. But yeah, Stan and Jan wrote this, so they were free to turn it into a book if they wanted to. They wrote this teleplay, and they wrote the original story idea. So here we are back at Beartown. That horrible little girl. So this is a brother and sister oriented story. You're the problem, brother. Yeah. It's just, children are the grown-ups of tomorrow. Anyway, a bear mayor. Ha, that'll be the day. You just watch it. I will be mayor. I'm going to clean up this town. You can start by sweeping the floors. Sorry, that's my sister wants to be mayor, but here's our mayor. A character who doesn't work well, but who's very animated because it's a cartoon. Yeah, so this is the episode where we really learn about the relationship between Mayor Honeypot and Raffish Ralph Ripoff. That relationship being a very corrupt one, actually. A very horrible one for anyone to have with an elected official. This is a sister episode. This is a really sister-forward episode. Here we go. Here's our boy. Now, we've been introduced to Raffish Ralph in a previous episode, but this is our first time really getting to see him in action solo. This is his TED Talk. Ooh, I'm going to say, for a swindle, and that's what this is. It's a swindle. He's very well prepared. If you watch, like, he's set up a slideshow. This is pre-PowerPoint. I question the... Okay, this is a sex gag. With the first gag we see is Raffish Ralph accidentally putting a... He pulls in the honeys. I guess that's the joke, is that Raffish Ralph, for a man who's usually broke and dresses like he dresses, it's pretty... he pulls in at least three. He's pulled in at least three. But we have this beautiful illustration on right there of Giant Bat Cave. It's a gorgeous painting. I love it. I love the design. I love everything. Also, bats, are we gonna get more... talking bat? We're going to get more talking bats, so get ready. And the bears are all on board. Like, you could... Yeah, like, everyone's going to make money off of Ralph's idea to turn Giant Bat Cave into an amusement park area. He's not even going to destroy it. He's just going to flush all the bats out of it. See? And then... Yeah, he doesn't care about anyone who can't keep him in power. Listen to this. You may not be old enough to vote. You're old enough to think. Thousands of years. So, unlike the book, in which the bats are bats, and we learn about the necessity of preserving ecological areas in the world for the bats, this is more about displacing people from their homes. This is about eminent domain. This is about government stepping in and saying, "Get out of your we need to build something in this area." It's not the bats, brother. And her giant head. Look at Sister Bear's giant noggin. Okay. Words of wisdom from the angriest man in bear country. Oh. I don't think he does a good job with the rhyme, but I get the gist. Is Giant Bat Cave named for the size of the cave, or the fact that there might be a giant bat in the cave? Yeah. Terrifying. So what we have here is we have the kids trying to convince Raffish Ralph there's a giant bat in the cave in order to chase him away from the cave itself. To say, like, you shouldn't be... there's a giant bat there. If I were Raffish Ralph, though, I would be like, a giant bat in the cave? Like, that would be amazing. I would have boon to my, like, you cage that sucker up. Sell tickets. He's already given away tickets to opening day of the cave. Like, it's... So when caves like Carlsbad and other various giant caves that are open to the public were turned into tourist attractions, they did do a lot of destructive stuff to the insides of the cave to install cafeterias and elevators and things like that. And over the years, they pulled back on a lot of those, removed a lot of those fixtures from try to return things to a more natural, so people can see the way things are actually supposed to be. Yeah, this is really a sister tale. Like, this is really her leading the way. She's the one who's like, we've got to do this. We have to protect these bats. I don't care for the bats, but they deserve to have their voices heard. Now, of course, in the book, they don't have voices. They're just bats. In the cartoon, though, we've established they are sentient creatures. They with a culture and a language. As are spiders. Now, this death trap that brother and sister almost succumbed to, I wonder if the bats set that up? Because the bats then save them. We get this great exterior shot of the mouth of the bat cave again, which is great. Are we to believe the bats carved that in their own likeness? A little spooky. Again, it's spooky season, so I'm glad to be covering this. Now, we get this giant mock-up of a bat, this giant fake bat, a la the giant cat mouse monster from American Tail. It falls apart in front of the kids. It instantly reveals itself to be fake. But in the book, I believe, the Cub Scouts, the Bear Scouts, are the ones who create the bat in order to scare off Raffish Ralph. In the cartoon, however, this is a giant totem that's been built by the bats themselves, because again, they're intelligent creatures who speak with phony Transylvanian accents, which is more, I guess, a bat accent, a bat accent. A little different. Eastern European of some kind. Transylvanian, Russian, Ukrainian. They don't really know. I just some sort of person from over there. That's the accent they're doing. Now, this is what's fascinating. This episode pulls a reverse Scooby-Doo on you. Now, Scooby-Doo typically has, like, Scooby-Doo and the gang hear about a monster or a goblin or a gooblin or a ghoul, and they go investigate, and it always turns out to be a person dressing up as a gooblin to scare people off, because they want to, like, chase people away from a treasure, keep people away from their, like, factory, what have you. This is a reverse Scooby-Doo. This is the heroes pretending there is a monster to scare the bad guy away from a location. But what's fascinating about this, and I may have brought this up in the other episode, Ralph and the town aren't doing really anything wrong. Like, I'm sure money changed hands under the table with the mayor, but the town wanted this to happen, and the Cubs are the ones. They didn't, like, in the book. They use ecological science and stuff to convince the town that what they're doing is wrong. In this, they just chase away a swindler. The town then loses all of this income. Can't say I'm a fan. I mean, I am a fan. I like the bats. You are old enough to think, sister. Kids are people too, as the saying goes. But you did ruin the town's chances for income. So your mom's not going to sell her quilts. Your dad's going to lose out on a lot of business. Sorry, kids. You ruined it for everyone. Okay, on to the Wild Wild Honey. Now, I covered Wild Wild Honey in a multi-part episode where I covered the entire Wild Wild Honey saga, because this is a multi-part story that takes place across the Berenstain Bears cartoon. Papa's relationship with this other woman. It's not a racetrack, Mom. It's your lawn. So the Bears treehouse in this episode is falling apart. Like, it's rough. And it makes me wonder, when you build a treehouse into a house, you have to add plumbing. You have to add electricity. You have to add a basement. You're cutting away things like the inside of a tree, which is needed by the tree to stand upright. You're cutting away the roots, obviously. You're cutting away the upper branches. How much of this tree is the original tree? And are we surprised it's falling apart? I do love Ruth Buzzy's voice. I love the way she commands the screen. We haven't seen a good Mama Bear episode yet. Mama Bear is not the lead, has not been a really strong presence in any of these episodes. I know one's coming. I know we're getting there at some point. But right now, she's just kind of the scold who rolls her eyes at Papa. Not brother covering for Papa. Not brother lying for Papa to keep the parents from fighting. Not brother acting as the intermediary like he does to keep his parents from fighting. Okay, so here's the bees. We get introduced to the bees in Bear Country. Like the Winnie the Pooh bees, these are smart bees with their own society. The Winnie the Pooh bees from the Saturday morning cartoon show. Papa's going a little nuts. You would think that Papa loves bees because of this, but it's not the bees he's hungry for. And ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because we're getting a Papa Bear song. Here we go. So Papa really wants wild honey. As we see from Papa Bear's honey stash, his like weird honey basement, he's got so many different kinds of honey already. Clover honey, other kinds of honey. What does Papa Bear mean by wild honey? What honey here isn't wild? And does that mean that he wants honey that the bees source from garbage? I don't know, like pig slop, a hog waller? The outhouses of Bear Country? I don't know. Where do you think these special bees are getting their special nectar from? Or is it psychological? Is it all in Papa's head? He thinks that like honey from a tree is better. I guess these are honeys from hives? Like owned hives? Like apiaries? Oh, so this is where I thought Sister said Mama was pulling fingers out of the seat of Papa's pants, which is a whole other thing. So Papa knows Queen Nectar. That's she's a thing. She's a presence. So good Queen Nectar will be honor bound to respect the flag of truce, which means that the animals in bear world, the animals at least in bear country, have some kind of like accord. There are common rules amongst mammals, snakes, reptiles, birds, insects that they've all agreed to. But Papa's going to try to use these accords against a woman he perceives to be his enemy. However, as we'll see, the woman in question, there is a weird relationship. I believe some sort of a history between these two. Not a pause. Not the Berenstain Bears allowing the characters to have a slow burn, like a slow pause. Oh yeah, you better get ready because Papa's about to get injured by these women who are about to kill themselves for the defense of their hive or something. Because the stingers get stuck in the bears, the bees die. So their anger is strong. Well, you'll see. You'll see what happens. And so Sister wears head or earmuffs because Papa screams a lot. It's kind of grisly. There's a dark history here with Papa getting injured by bees. Sorry, Mama. Your husband's a load. Okay, we are well into this episode and we have not even gotten to the honey yet. I don't even know what that is. What is that supposed to be? So, Queen Nectar, Papa with the flag of truce. This is all a ruse to get that wah-wah honey. And what a tree. I love the old honey tree. It's so full of honey, it's bursting at the seams. Mm. I believe that's Ruth Buzzy also doing the voice of the Queen Bee, which brings up a whole other thing. She's doing kind of a Mae West thing. Is the bee's voice only in Papa's head? Is that why she sounds like Mama Bear? I don't like her sexual innuendo. I don't like her making a sexual innuendo and then pointing to like leaky holes. It just, there's too much going on here for Saturday morning. I'm trying to enjoy my Waffalo's. I'm trying to enjoy my nerd cereal and watch Berenstain Bears. Teen Wolf is on soon. I don't need the innuendos. But I guess if you're doing a Mae West impression. I also don't like her using the phrase honeypot. Has other connotations. Okay, here we go. So Queen Nectar is ticked off at Papa. She sends out her troops to chase him off. However, watch. So they nail him in the butt. They chase him out of their area. But then he dives in the... This is a very Tom and Jerry gag, by the way. Being chased underwater by bees. He hides it, but his nose is above water. They sting him repeatedly on his nose. Who were the bees who gave their lives for this? Like, they got him away from the hive. There's nothing left to do. Oh, yeah, I've always forget this episode has two endings. Like, it ends with Papa getting stung. But then he gets, like, the wild honey yearning again. It's like the end of Lord of the Rings. It just there's all these endings. What's the real ending? He's dreaming about wild honey again. He wakes up. Chores, Papa Bear. I think maybe you're a bad husband at this point. This house you built out of a hollowed out old tree is no longer working properly because you built it out of a tree. There's some animation weirdness in this episode, by the way. You have 2 minutes left in this episode. You cannot come up with new great ideas, Papa Bear. Alexander Graham Bruin. Mark that down. Oh. That's Papa, the impediment to you getting honey is not the fact that you can't get it out of the tree. It is literally leaking out of the tree. It's that the bees won't let you get near it. If you could just walk up to one of those leaky holes, you could get the honey, but you can't get. I see this plan makes no sense. Also, that's not how you get honey out of a beehive. You don't just drill a hole in the side and stick a faucet. It doesn't work. Trust me. Doesn't work that way, Papa. Bees. It's bees. They know you're there. They knew you were there before. I question the tactics used. Also, he went into anaphylactic shock from being stung 150 times. Also, he broke the accords with the bees, and now they're attacking the rest of Beartown. Also, we're focused way too much on Papa's butt right now. The end, the lesson learned. Don't harass women, I guess is the lesson, which, good on you. Good on you. That was the end of the Wild Wild Honey. The beginning of the Wild Wild Honey saga. I haven't seen it in a while, so it was nice to see it again. I think that was Ruth Buzzy as Queen Nectar, but I'm not sure. There's some like extra voices in there, but it sounded like Ruth Buzzy. And it'd be appropriate. Buzzy. Oh, and I like the end here with the Australia logo. Here we go. All right. So wow, my face is really big. So that was the Berenstain Bears, the Giant Bat Cave, Berenstain Bears, and the Wild Wild Honey. If you watched along at home, in your seat, if you watched this on YouTube, you heard my thoughts on it. But to sum up, for my friends listening along at home, they're good. It's 2 good episodes. They're fine. Fine episodes. No, really. So what we have is, well, hold on. I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna get my head together. All right, so this is a little bit I'm doing just for the audio listeners at home, because I might cover some stuff that I covered in the body of the viewing of the episode, but this is solely for the listeners. Congratulations, you're getting your own special treat, which is exactly the same as the other treat. I just had to put my thoughts together. So I covered Giant Bat Cave as a Bear Scouts chapter book like 7 years ago with Alana and Mitzi. Mitzi was, so if that's 7 years ago, Mitzi's 14, so she was literally just half the age she is now. I don't know why. It was a chapter book. I can't believe that we had a 7-year-old chapter book that was literally about local politics and the pros and cons of tourism-based environmental destruction. So the original novel was like, should we turn a natural wonder into a capitalist hellscape? And the answer was no. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, it was weird. This episode wasn't so much about that. But I need to point out before we get going on like the plot of the episode that it opens with this, and I point this out online, it opens with this really nice establishing shot of Beartown. You got the back scratching tree. You've got this old man sitting on a bench with a really tall hat reading a newspaper. You've got a parent and a cub on a bench, and you've got 2 kids playing with a toy truck. And the visible cub who's playing with the toy truck is a nightmare of character design. It is horrifically off model. Her tiny eyes are way too high on her head. She looks like she knows secrets beyond time. She's a terrifying demon who, and I get it. I mean, I get it. These animators had like 100,000 images to crank out and they were making a Saturday morning TV show. I get it. I respect the hustle, but the child is not good. Like, she is not good. She doesn't look good. So if you go back and watch Giant Bat Cave, just in that, it's like a 1 second long introduction. Like, it just an establishing shot lasts 1 second, and you just sort of like, it quickly starts zooming in, and you see this little girl with a messed up. It's wild. It's wild. It's not a Berenstain bear. It is a nightmare bear. It is no one's idea of a good time bear. Anyway, so this is a brother and sister episode, a brother and sister arguing episode, brother and sister. It's very much a sister episode. This is sort of proto chapter book Brother Bear who doesn't really want to go along with the plan until like it's sort of well thought out, and sister being more of the hot-headed one who's more about justice and protecting others, whereas brother, as in the books, in the chapter books, brother was always a little more hesitant to take action. So sister Bear wants to go attend this town meeting that's happening, and brother's like, but those are for grown-ups, and sister's like, hey, children are the grown-ups of tomorrow. And she says that she wants to be the mayor one day, to which I responded, I did it Back to the Future. I was watching that. I was like, oh, Bear, mayor, that'll be the day. And she's like, you just watch, Brother Bear. One day I will be mayor, and I'm going to clean up this town. And he's like, you can start by sweeping. It was a Back to the Future reference. It was very funny when I did it in the moment. So they go to this meeting. Mayor Honeypot and Ralph Ripoff, Raffish Ralph Ripoff are there. This is the introduction of their corrupt partnership. It's a full-on TED Talk. Ralph has a slideshow presentation where he wants to turn Giant Bat Cave into an amusement park, where he's just like, we can flush the bats out. Eminent domain, baby. We're gonna steamroll over this. We're gonna turn this into and it makes sense to the Bears of Beartown, because he's like, look, you can sell souvenirs. We can set up shops in the Bat Cave. And Papa's like, I can get more customers for my furniture design business. And Mama is like, I can sell preserve. I think she sells preserves. She sells preserves because this is like, they haven't really honed into her being a quilt maker yet. So she's like, I can sell preserves. I think in the book they changed it to quilt making, but the whole town's Farmer Ben's like, I can set up a fruit stand. Like they're gonna force out the bats, and it's because in the book, which came after the episode, but in the book, the bats, they're just bats. It's about ecology. They call in actual factual to like teach them about bats and why bats are important to the area and why this is like a 1,000-year-old cave. These bats have been there for thousands of years. But in the cartoon, the bats are if you remember from the last episode, like from the Spooky Old House, the bats are sentient Transylvanian immigrants into Bear World, into the Bear Town, Bear Country. They have their own language, they have their own culture, they have their own designs and building, they are sentient beings with this is more a story about moving a people out of their home than it is about ecology, which the book is about. This is about your neighbors, and the town has voted to force people out of their homes in order to build something that could benefit the town economically, without really considering that these creatures are their neighbors. And so it has it sort of goes in it, even though it tells essentially the same story as the book, it goes in a slightly different direction simply by making the bats, giving the bats language. It's also a reverse Scooby-Doo. So the Legend of the Giant Bat Cave, if you haven't gone back to a 7-year-old episode and listened, the Legend of Giant Bat Cave is that it's called Giant Bat Cave, but nobody knows why. They don't know if it's because it is a giant bat cave or if it is because it is a cave that houses a giant bat. So that's the mystery. I can't remember who says it in the book, but Grizzly Gramps says it in the original episode. So the kids are like, that's interesting. So if there is a giant bat, that could scare Ralph off. Ralph doesn't believe there's a giant bat. He thinks they're just trying to get him out of their business. So they decide, the Cubs, sister decides, because she's in charge here. Sister decides to go visit Giant Bat Cave with brother and see if there really is a giant bat. And lo and behold, they enter the cave, and there is a giant bat speaking with a very creepy Transylvania accent. But what? It's not a real bat. This is another thing. The bats themselves have built a giant bat to act as giant bat, to scare people away, sort of a Wizard of Oz thing. The Cubs discover this. They're like, we're here to help you guys keep your cave, and I think we might have an idea. And this is where the crux of the episode is. They pull what I refer to as a reverse Scooby-Doo, because normally Scoopy and the gang unmask monsters that are trying to chase people away from an area, usually for, like, land reasons. And here, the heroes pretend there's a monster to chase away legitimately selected economic development plan. The town has said, yes, we want this to be developed. And the kids are like, no, there's a monster. So Ralph gets scared off when the bats come out of the cave, and then the giant bat, which is being carried by the bats, comes out of the cave. And Ralph is like, forget it, too much trouble. And the town was just trying to improve their economy, but Sister was like, no, housing rights for bats, which is fine, which is legit, because, again, these are your neighbors. And the Berenstain Bears are about nothing if they're not about the importance of loving your neighbors, loving the people who are around you. So legitimate Berenstain Bears lesson here. The dad won't be able to improve his business. The mom won't sell any of her preserves, and Farmer Ben won't have additional income. The town's economy is going to get tanked, but the kids helped the bats with the funny accents. So that's the important thing. Okay, so then moving on to episode 2, which is Wild Wild Honey. It's the beginning of the Wild Wild Honey saga. Papa Bear versus Queen Nectar. I put out a few reviews of the Wild Wild Honey saga a while ago, and then I assembled them all into one episode. This was during COVID, so it was a few years back. But that exists. That's a thing that I created. It's about Papa Bear's lust for honey and the relationship he has with this woman who sounds a lot like his wife. So in this episode, the bear's treehouse is falling apart. Like the front is falling off, the stairs are breaking, none of the water works. And which raises a question in my mind, which is how much of the bear's treehouse is still tree? Because they had to hollow out the tree. They had to install plumbing. They had to install electricity. They had to add a basement, which means that there's no interior like tree of the tree. The roots are probably mostly gone. The branches are being cut away. There's an attic up there. So are we supposed to be surprised that the tree is collapsing? Papa is living inside the corpse of an ant corpse, a rotting corpse. Like they gutted a living thing, and then they were like, I can't believe our house is falling apart. So Ruth Buzzy comes on as Mama Bear. She tries, and she's like, Papa Bear, this house is falling apart. You got to do your chores. But Papa instead sees a bee, and he gets taken over by honey lust, and decides to go steal honey from Queen Nectar, who has a name. He sings a song about wild, wild honey, which is amazing. We see his honey stash, his storage room, underground storage bunker filled with different types of honey. I don't know what he means by wild honey, because he has like a literal honey dungeon full of different kinds of honey. What makes that honey wild? Is he just craving garbage honey? Does he just want, I don't want the honey that comes from an apiary. I want the honey that comes from when the bees drank out of antifreeze puddles and outhouses and hog wallers. I want nasty wild honey. I don't know. Like, is that what Papa wants? He doesn't want apiary honey. He wants all kinds of honey. No flavor's too disgusting. So what he does is he has this idea, which is, I think, a war crime in bear country. He pulls out a truce flag, like a white flag of truce, and he's like, there are unwritten rules. They're not actually unwritten. There are written rules in our world. We have like a truce with the bees, with all animals, and if I approach them, on bended knee, if I approach them in a certain way, by law, they have to grant me an audience. And this is like deep animal lore in bear world. Apparently, there is established in the cartoon that all the animals share a common agreement, which is that they will not kill each other. Which is, I assume that like the bears get along with the skunks and everything. They will not kill each other as long as they like follow the written precepts. Papa is going to take advantage of Queen Nectar by approaching her in a position of subservience, of gratitude and welcome, of hello, of neighborliness, and then he's going to use that to steal her honey. He approaches Queen Nectar, who's a sultry woman. Like, she's tall, she has a balcony. She speaks kind of like Mae West and kind of like Mama, kind of like Ruth Buzzy. I think it's Ruth Buzzy doing the voice. I'm not sure. However, there's clearly a history between Papa and Queen Nectar. There's clearly some kind of history. He knows her name. She knows he's Papa Bear. She knows he's after her honey. But she refers to it. She's like, that man's only after one thing. And then she gestures to like the tree, which has like spout, like wooden, like their branches are falling off and the honey is just dripping out of these holes. So she's like, Papa Bear's only after my dripping holes, which is, I'm not making that up. That's literally what happens in the episode. And she's like, a man's only after one thing. And it's very like suggestive. There's a lot of like innuendo in her voice, which makes me go like, did they have a relationship? Like at one point, did he at least go out with her? At some, I don't know. She cottons to his deal pretty quickly. Sends her bees out after him. They chase him out. Like attack copters. They chase him out. He jumps into a lake, sticks his nose above the water, and they repeatedly sting his nose. Meaning that she sent him out to chase Papa away. He ran, and then they just kamikazed into him. Like they die. Like the bees died. Like to teach him a nose lesson on his nose. I assume he didn't go into anaphylactic shock. He could have. And so then the episode ends with Papa with his nose bandaged, but then it starts up again. He gets like the hunger again, and he's like, I got another idea. I'm going to take a faucet, I'm going to stick it in the tree. And the honey will come out of it. Like, that's it. Like, he goes into the tree and they attack him again, and he ends up with stingers in his butt, which means we have to think about Papa's nose, but we especially have to think about Papa's butt. He ends up pulled over Mama's knee with her plucking stingers out of his butt, which means more bee death, more bee sacrifice, and us thinking about more about the closeness of Papa's bottom than we ever wanted to. But it's a sister episode. 2 sister episodes. No, wait. The first was a sister episode. This is a Papa episode, a brother and sister episode. So, sister commits the opposite of eco-terrorism, or kind of eco-terrorism, for housing for the bats. Papa commits a war crime, I guess, to get honey, and the Queen Nectar is too sexy for words. She's too sexy, and she will be back. They're good. Are they good? Are they good? These are good episodes. They're fine episodes. Solid episodes. Would watch again, I guess. I will rank them. Should I rank them? Should I rank these episodes? Let's see what happens if I try to rank the episodes. Is there a way? Nope. 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 I know I have. No, not that. Not that. Not that. Not that. None of this works. I thought I had my ranking thing up here. I know I have my ranking thing, but I don't know where it is. Hold on one sec. I'm just going to do the rankings this way. They're both pretty good. And when I get around to it, I'll maybe make a chart again. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm bored. And I've talked about this enough. And that's it. That's really it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Am I done? Am I done? Am I done? Am I done? I think I'm done. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube and or your podcast player. My name is Phil Gonzalez. This is Deep in Bear Country. It's a stupid thing that I've been doing for like 10 and a half years. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm nearing 50. When I started this show, I was nearing 40. Think about that. Think about where your life is. Think about where my life is. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I love it. It's so good. Anyway, thank you all for watching these. Much for listening. I'll see you all next time. Deep in Bear Country.